And once again, we start in Texas, where the sheer number of illegals storming our southern border, it's utterly unsustainable. Let's be honest, folks. It's a full-scale invasion. Predictably, the rest of the media is hyperventilating with fake news about our Border Patrol on horseback doing their job. God bless them. They don't want to talk about what's really happening on our so-called border. As for Joe Biden, he says he's got the situation covered.
What's your reaction to the images from the southern border?
Get it under control.
Get it under control, or you have it under control?
We will get it under control.
Thanks, Joe. You'll get it under control. In between naps, no surprise there. We know he intentionally has no interest in what's happening at the border. He's got root cause Kamala for that. Joe, you know you've had 10 months to get it under control, but we know you don't want to, so the surge continues. Just look at these numbers from August, last month, where CBP apprehended over 200,000 illegals. That doesn't even account for the growing number of gotaways, an alarming increase from the previous 2 years. It's not even close. Those are unprecedented numbers. And those numbers don't even factor in the new caravan we learned of today of 20,000 additional Haitians that are preparing to make their way to the U.S. Or all of the proud residents of Bidenville, the third world tent city filled with nearly 15,000 Haitian illegals at its peak, most of whom are still crammed under a bridge in Del Rio, Texas. The White House likes to pretend like it's doing something. That's what they're best at. So our DHS secretary continues his wimpy tough talk.
DHS is conducting regular expulsion and removal flights to Haiti, Mexico, Ecuador, and Northern Triangle countries. We have reiterated that our borders are not open and people should not make the dangerous journey. Individuals and families are subject to border restrictions, including expulsion.
Nothing but hollow words. You can't even get a good microphone. Now, it's true the administration is using the Trump-era Title 42 to send a very small number of illegals back home, but only if you're a single adult male. Families, of course, given a free pass. According to Texas DPS, 332 married couples with a pregnant wife still reside under that bridge, meaning 332 anchor babies will soon be here to keep them in the U.S., while an additional almost 7,000 family units remain as well. The White House isn't about to send them away, so instead they'll get processed, released into the U.S., and given a notice to appear in court that could be years away, or of course never at all. Make no mistake about it, Joe Biden is expelling people, but they're headed for Minneapolis, not Haiti. Thanks to new reporting from FoxNews.com, some of which came from an air traffic controller that I've been in touch with who shared the flight patterns of DHS flights known as ICE Air. We now know it's not just the Twin Cities where the administration is looking to hide illegals. Cities like Chicago, Denver, and New York City all have been and will continue to receive planes full of illegals in the dead of night, fresh off the border. So after promising deportations, which we know is not true, the Biden administration is doing exactly what we knew they were doing, going back to catch and release. But this time, it's on steroids. Border Patrol detailed the situation to Texas Governor Greg Abbott this morning.
Where these people are going. You mentioned these flights out and buses out.
People are being processed here in Texas and being released here in Texas, and people are being processed outside of Texas and being released in those areas to further their entry into the United States.
It's being facilitated. Even Biden's former border chief, Rodney Scott, is raising concerns, detailing the problems in a letter to the Senate majority and minority leaders, saying, quote, "The Biden administration's team at DHS is laser focused on expediting the flow of migrants into the U.S. and downplaying the significant vulnerability this creates for terrorists, narcotic smugglers, human traffickers, and even hostile nations to gain access to our homeland." Isn't there a country somewhere with a brand new terrorist state and all of our weapons? And as these issues mount, You'd like to think the White House might have some answers on who is going where, right? We know they're going somewhere, some cities. But as Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson found out this morning, they could care less.
How many people have been returned? How many people are being detained? How many people have been dispersed to all points around America?
Senator, I would be pleased to provide you with that data.
I want them now. Why don't you have that information now?
Senator, I do not have that data.
Why not?
For me.
Why don't you have that basic information?
Senator, I want to be accurate.
Good for him. Where do these people go? Where do their kids go to school? I'll answer for the secretary. They're coming to a neighborhood near you, not Nancy Pelosi's gated community or John Kerry's private estate. No chance. They're coming to our backyard. The Biden administration acts like they were blindsided by this surge at the southern border, yet it is entirely of their own doing. Repealing successful Trump-era policies has led to a 20-year high in border apprehensions and border crossings. Biden and his cronies think we're stupid, and they'll tell us they're deporting illegals while resettling them, of course, in our own backyards. And what is Congress doing as the border burns up? Well, they're pushing trillions of dollars of infrastructure spending, of course. Nancy Pelosi and her leftist gang don't care about protecting the border, you, me, or our families, our country's sovereignty. She just wants her piece of the pie so she can build more human infrastructure. And maybe she'll throw in a few bucks to build bridges to hide a few more illegal immigrants under.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.